Do you think you guys have stayed on top and stayed relevant because you practice so much? Like you don't just get together and go on tour and say, fuck it, we've played it so many times, I'm going to...
I would maybe almost say the opposite. I mean, in all silliness, I think part of the reason we're still together is because we're not so rigid that we don't let the human element be a big part of what we do, and we don't take ourselves so seriously that everything has to be no fucking perfect all the time. And often, you know, when we play, if we fuck something up, we'll stop and start it over, and we get a little bit of grief in the metal community actually from the critics and some of the other bands about, you know, Metallica are a little more kind of on the sloppy side, and we kind of wear that with pride actually.
You don't want it to be rote.
Yeah, and we're lazy, I think. We don't want to rehearse a lot. I think there's a punk rock attitude to it also, where it's got to be fun.
All of us grew up on a big part of punk aesthetics, and we also love, you know, garage rock and, you know, what was coming out of Detroit in the late 60s, the Stooges and the MC5, and, you know, bands like Motorhead, obviously early AC/DC and so on, which is really more about a vibe.
Did you dig the Ramones? Were they big with you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Huge
Covered a
Ramones.
bunch
Yes.
of their stuff.
From the very beginning. From
Got the first album right when it came out, and it was like, wow, look at these guys. I remember showing all my friends the album cover in 1976. It was like, look at these dudes, black and white Queens dudes, and their tattered jeans and their leather jackets. It was so fucking cool.
It was so inspiring to see the Ramones, especially as a teenager, because I didn't look like Robert Plant. I looked more like Dee Ramone.
We got to play with them.
Lollapalooza.
Yeah, Lollapalooza. Too.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
That was such a treat.
And those guys would fight all the time, too. I mean, they did not get along at all. I mean, you must have seen some crazy stuff with those
They
guys.
never got along, Howard.
Never.
From the very beginning.
But they were fucking sweethearts, all of them.
I used to have them on the show and try to unite them and get them talking to one another. It was crazy radio. It was just so great. Do you guys ever look at like the Rolling Stones and think, hey, maybe musically we'll all still be together in 2050? Could you guys see yourselves at almost 80 years old still doing this?
I can.
I think, I mean, if the knees and the elbows and the necks and the throats and all the rest of it hold up, I think definitely in the spirit of it, definitely still be there. Maybe it'll be 20 versions of All Within My Hands at that time rather than 20 versions of Battery or Damage Incorporated or whatever. But I think that, I think spiritually and certainly aesthetically, there's a good shot.